Now for the bottom, remember, this is the position from the bottom of the bottom of the browser basically. So from the bottom we want it 40 pixels, and if we didn't have this it would just sit right on the bottom right here like our footer is. Well, we actually want to take this and move it up 40 pixels because remember this footer is 40 pixels tall, so that'll make sure it sits right on top, so the bottom of the drop up menu is right there. Now how do we style it to make it look cool? Well, as you notice, there is a border, a thin black border on the left hand side, on top, and on the right hand side. But on the bottom, you really don't want to make a border because you want to make it look like it's growing from this button. So for the border bottom, go ahead and set none. And actually, if you do this, border 1 pixel solid, then you can either just like make it black, or if you want to not make anything black, you make it 111 111. It's like a very dark, almost black. What you can do is whenever you add this border, it adds a border around everything, and then you overwrite it to say, okay, keep all the other borders, but don't have a border bottom. Take away the border on the bottom, and that'll make sure that you have this effect of border on the left, top, right, but not the bottom. And after this, right now, it would just inherit the background, or maybe have a default background if you set the settings before. But what we want to do is we want to set the background to transparent. So you see how the background of this entire drop-up list, you can kind of see through it. Well, I did this by making the opacity 50%. So you guys already know how to do this. RGBA, it's black, of course, 0, 0, 0, 0.5, which will mean that this background is 50% opaque. You can see through it 50%. Now the last thing I want to show you guys how to do is how to make these edges curved. Because the cool thing about this is that the top left corner and the top right corner have a slight curve to them, which is awesome. And on bottom, it doesn't have any curve at all, because if you had a curve on bottom, it'll look like more of a pop-up box instead of a drop-up menu. So in order to achieve this effect of having two corners curved and two corners square, this is what you do. Border radius, which pretty much means how curvy do you want your corners, you go 7 pixels, 7 pixels, 0 pixels, 0 pixels. Now this is the order that you have to write it in whenever you're determining the curviness of your corners. First of all, the more pixels that you do, the more curvy it is, because it says, okay, count 7 pixels over and then curve it. But anyways, just remember this. The more pixels that you do, the more curvy it is. So this is the order. The top left corner, the top right corner, the bottom right corner, and the bottom left. So I know that's really weird. And by the way, border radius is kind of a weird name for like curvy corners. But anyways, just remember that. So anyways, the order that you do it is, like I said, top left, top right, bottom right, bottom left. So my top left corner curves 7 pixels, my top right corner curves 7 pixels, my bottom right and bottom left corner each curve 0, which means perfectly square corners. So that's how you achieve that effect. So now we got this basic entire drop-up menu styled. Now what we need to do is style these individual item elements. So calculator, group chat, you see how each one is kind of, first of all, it has some padding, and it also has a little border on the bottom to separate each elements. That's what we're going to be learning to do in the next video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you then.